Hello and welcome to Uniform Health, the fitness channel that takes a holistic approach to diet and exercise. So today I'm going to be talking about a misnomer, something that is basically not really accurately told, and that's a central nervous system issue. So what's going on with a lot of people saying that, oh, bodybuilders are like, oh, the reason why you're overtrained is because your central nervous system is broken down. And if you train this way, your central nervous system won't break down, and you'll just be working your muscles, or vice versa. First off, to a degree that is plausible, but you're going to be working both all at the same time. So eventually, through any mechanism by which you're exercising, any method that you're using, you're going to eventually run into overtraining if you're doing that too much at too high intensity. It's just a fact. And also if you're not eating properly. I'll get into that later. So the misconception really goes down to is that that is a central nervous system issue. Some people have postulated that when they worked out, if you didn't just focus on one muscle group, so say you're overtrained because you're working on your bench too much. So if you bench too much, you eventually become overtrained because that part of your central nervous system is broken down, and that causes central nervous system issues. But that proved to be wrong. And some people are suggesting that overtraining, not overtraining, because there's overtraining and there's overreaching, that overreaching is a method in which you could get a sort of super compensation effect that would, sort of like a repeated bout effect, that would increase your body's ability to go after other forms of exercise. So you run yourself down until you're overreached and have like a little bit of fatigue, but not are overtrained, and then by doing that you're going to maximize your body's capabilities. There's also periodization, where you're trying to avoid overtraining by working in the proper method in order to get the most intensity but without this overtraining effect. In any event, I think it's pretty much, the periodization thing is way too complicated, maybe just because I'm an idiot, I don't know. Maybe some other people work with it, can do it right, but unless your life is all about lifting, which it very well will be, periodization is way too bogus. And if you don't have your nutrition in set anyways, it doesn't matter. So here's the thing. Central nervous system overtraining is not the issue. What the issue is systemic inflammation. If you want this overreaching effect, I'll tell you one thing you could do. You could stop, or you could lower your calorie intake, lower your water intake, lower your sleep, and then you'll instantly become overtrained really quickly, or overreached, I should say. It's a degree. And what that is, it's a lot of inflammatory compounds being generated. They're not being properly dealt with through a process called autophaging. Autophaging, or this is one process, and autophaging is the premise that it takes metabolites that are no longer useful and that are also damaging, that are naturally created within the exercise program, and it sort of deletes them. So this autophaging eats whatever these active metabolites are occurring in the particular cells. Your body only has a limited capacity for this autophaging, and when you don't have the proper sleep levels and you don't have the proper nutrition, if you're dirty bulking, and if you're completely exerting yourself, you're going to overstretch this limited capacity of autophaging. You're also going to cause a lot of cytokines and other inflammatory compounds to be released, and that's going to cause a deleterious effect on your muscle gains, and also could potentially cause you to shrink or gain weight, because things like what a lot of people like to say overtraining is increasing cortisol, and that's just one. It's a fundamental component, but that's just one component. The best way to look at it is not from an endocrinology perspective, but from an immune perspective, because the immune system is what's adaptive, and the immune system is what's going to give you an appreciation for how complex the intricacies of the development of the body really is. So basically what I want to say is that yes, listening to your body and sleeping right and eating right and drinking water and doing a lot of the things that a lot of these coaches are promoting is a great way to avoid overtraining. However, to view overtraining as a strictly neurological basis is not the way you should be looking at it. You should be looking at it as an inability to heal. So you only have a limited capacity to heal yourself. If you can enhance that capacity through proper diet and exercise, and possibly shooting yourself with testosterone or whatever, if you're doing factors that will help increase the receptivity of those testosterone receptors, you will be more capable of healing yourself and more capable of functioning without overtraining. The measurements for overtraining vary from heart rate variability. So a lot of people say is, okay, hold your heart count the rhythms that you get and do that over the course of every time you work out, or every morning basically. And by judging that, you'll have fluxes within your heart rate variability during times of overtraining, or when you feel like you're going to be, or when overtraining is becoming an onset. So you'll have higher heart rates, higher resting heart rates if you're overtrained. There's also other measurements through the blood and things, but those are too hard. There's also reaction time measurements, and that's pretty good. So the faster your reaction time is, the better your neurological system is set up, and the better your sort of capacity is for training. So those are things you could try and test to avoid overtraining, is heart rate variability, and sort of use a stopwatch or something for reaction time. But really what it comes down to is proper nutrition, looking at the immune system and its effects, avoiding psychological stressors, sleeping correctly, and exercising in such a way that will beat the shit out of you, but at the same time won't absolutely run you into the ground, because there's a lot of immune fluctuations that occur through exercise, and making sure that you solicit the proper response without making yourself get sick, which can oftentimes happen if you're overexerting yourself, because if you get sick, obviously you're going to lose weight and you're going to have a negative effect on your capacity to exercise. So avoiding sickness is huge. So exercising at that minimum, that baseline, is exactly what you want to do. The supercompensation effect of overreaching, I think, is a little bit overstretched. You don't need to be overtrained in order to get the best response out of your body, the best anabolic response. You need to have the proper diet, nutrition, exercise, the proper recovery response, the proper immune response in order to solicit this anabolic effect. So that's basically the central nervous system. That's basically overtraining. I'll post some related studies. I did a lot more research than I think was necessary for this video, because I don't think people care about all the different interleukin-6 and all this other shit. There's been a lot of good articles posted by T-Nation and also, I think, Bodycom or something. There was two that I looked at. They were pretty good. They cited studies and things, so that's something to look at. I'll have those in the below the video. Hopefully you'll like, comment, subscribe. Let me know that I'm an idiot. Let me know if this helps you. Let me know if you need any information. That's really what I want. I want to post videos that you guys want to hear about, and or specific information like, oh, I'm overtrained. What do you think the issue could be? Or I want to challenge myself in being able to heal you, and I'm not going to do so if I don't feel comfortable. But I feel comfortable as of right now for most general recommendations. So come at me. Alright, thank you very much, guys, and I will see you later in the next video.